Hi guys, Rafael Marcolino here and welcome to Sapiens every week with a new drum lesson for you. In this lesson we're going to talk about ghost notes. I'm going to give you some tips on how to put ghost notes in your grooves and how to play those ghost notes, how you can really achieve this dynamic difference of backbeats and ghost notes, because the goal here with ghost notes is to play as low as you can. You really need a very low volume with ghost notes for them to do the job they're supposed to do inside the groove. It's not something that you clearly listen when you're listening to a song with a drummer playing ghost notes inside a groove. Sometimes you can't really identify if there are ghost notes or not, and what pattern exactly is the drummer playing with those ghost notes, but they give a really special taste to a groove. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, don't forget to follow Sapiens on Instagram, and if you want to receive every week a new drum lesson with PDF files containing transcriptions of every exercise I show here, go to subscribe.drumsapiens.com and subscribe to the mailing list. It's completely free and you will receive every week straight to your email a new drum lesson with all the transcriptions of the exercises, okay? So now let's get really started with ghost notes. And here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you two different ghost note patterns, and we're going to start by playing those just with our hands, with our hi-hat and our snare drum. And then we're going to add two different kick drum patterns for you to try to build up this coordination and control. This dynamic control is actually the hardest part when playing ghost notes inside a groove, because you have to keep the same volume that you are playing in every note on the hi-hat and with your kick drum, and you have to be able to control your left hand to play really low volume notes as ghost notes and really strong notes as the backbeats. So our first example is going to be playing eighth notes with our right hand, and we're going to play the backbeat on beats 2 and 4. And we're going to add ghost notes using 16th notes, and those ghost notes are going to be alternating with our right hand, with our hi-hat. So we're going to put ghost notes in the second 16th note of beat 1, then we're going to play the backbeat on beat 2, then we're going to add two ghost notes in a row on the last 16th note of beat 2, between the end of 2 and beat 3, and between beat 3 and the end of 3, on the second 16th note of beat 3. Then we're going to play the backbeat on beat 4, and we're going to add one last ghost note between the end of 4 and the next one, okay? So we're going to start by playing only with our hands, and the goal here is to try to play the ghost notes as low as you can and the backbeats as loud as you can. And you don't need to tension your arm to control these really low volume notes or to, put some strength to play the backbeats. It's not about that. It's all about the movement. So the higher you lift your drumstick, the loudest you're gonna play. That's the mechanics. So when you're trying to play those ghost notes, try to lift your drumstick just a little bit, just like 2 or 3 fingers from the snare drum head. And when it's time to play the backbeats, you can lift it all up and then just let it fall to play this powerful backbeat, okay? That's the goal here, but you have to try to keep all the notes on the hi-hat with the same volume. In this case, I'm gonna play a little more accented notes on the downbeats and a little bit lower on the upbeats, just to keep a better movement, and that helps in the beginning for you to control better your snare drum volumes without changing the volume that you are playing with the hi-hat as well. So I hope you understand it by watching this first example. Okay, now I'm gonna show you our second ghost note pattern, and then we're gonna try to add some kick drums to these hand patterns that are going to become complete grooves. So now, instead of playing single strokes with our left hand as ghost notes, we're gonna play some double strokes. We're gonna play 2 16th notes in a row. So we're gonna keep the backbeats on beats 2 and 4, and we're gonna keep playing eighth notes with our right hand on the hi-hat, but now we're gonna put some ghost notes on the second 16th note of beat 1 and on the end of 1, as I said, 2 16th notes in a row. And the hard part of this is that this second ghost note that comes on the end of 1 is played together with the hi-hat. So that's a little bit tricky in the beginning because the snare drum has to be in a really low volume, but the hi-hat's not that low on the end of 1. So you have to really control those different dynamics with both of your hands. Then we're gonna play the backbeat on the downbeat of 2. Then we're gonna add 2 ghost notes on the end of 2 and on the last 16th note of beat 2. So there are 2 16th notes in a row. Then we're gonna play the hi-hat alone on beat 3. Then we're gonna put 2 ghost notes on the second 16th note of beat 3 and on the end of 3. And it happens exactly in the same way that we did on beat 1. Then we're gonna play the backbeat on beat 4, and we're gonna add 2 ghost notes on the end of 4 and on the fourth 16th note of beat 4. Again, I'm gonna play just with my hands for you to understand the snare pattern, and then we're gonna put some kick drum notes. So check it out. And now we're gonna add some kick drums just to make it sound as a groove and just to start building up a three-way coordination inside this ghost note universe. We're gonna add the kick drum to beats 1 and 3. And I'm gonna play for you those 2 examples, and I'm gonna play for you those 2 examples in a row. So I'm gonna play around 4 bars of the first example and around 4 bars of the second example, playing the kick drum on beats 1 and 3 in every bar. Check it out. Now let's make it a little more complex in terms of coordination and in terms of how the groove sounds. I'm gonna change the kick drum pattern to a kick drum on beat 1, then we're gonna play a second kick drum on the last 16th note of beat 1, so it's gonna come between the end of 1 and beat 2. And then we're gonna play another kick drum just on the end of 3. So we're not playing a kick drum on the downbeat of 3, just on the end of 3. At first, I'm gonna play this kick drum pattern without any ghost notes on the snare for you, just to listen to it and understand how it sounds with the backbeat on 2 and 4 and playing eighth notes with my hi-hat. And then we're gonna add those ghost notes, those same 2 ghost note patterns, to this kick drum pattern and build up this groove in a more complex way. But check out first the kick drum pattern inside this context without ghost notes with the snare. Okay, now I'm gonna show you 3 different ways to play this groove. First, I'm gonna play it without ghost notes, then I'm gonna add ghost notes with the first example, and then I'm gonna change it to the second ghost note pattern, to the second example I showed you. So I'm gonna play those 3 different variations of this groove, of these ghost notes in a row. Check out how it sounds. With this last example, you can clearly understand how adding ghost notes and changing the ghost note pattern can really change the feel of a groove. It's completely different when I played without ghost notes, and it's completely different from the first example to the second example. I hope you liked it. I hope this gives you some ideas on putting ghost notes inside your own grooves. If this is not something new to you, I hope I gave you some cool information about how to play those ghost notes in a better way, to control those dynamic ranges with the snare drum. That's really important when you are trying to play ghost notes inside a groove. Okay? Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't forget to like the video if you like this lesson. Don't forget to follow Drummo Sapiens on Instagram. And if you want to receive every week PDF files with transcriptions of all those exercises and a new lesson straight to your email, go to subscribe.drummosapiens.com, and don't forget, if you have any doubts or if you have any suggestions on a future topic for me to cover in these lessons, put on the video comments. I love to read your comments and I do my best to reply to them all. Okay? See you on the next lesson.